Halika na, pumikit, limutin ang problema. Hihintayin ang umaga.
Magpahinga, panaginip ng kaligaya. Darating din ang umaga.
Basta tayo'y magkasama, laging mayroong umaga. Kay ganda, parang sikat ng araw, may dalang liwanag sa ating pangarap. Haharapin natin,
haharapin natin ang sikat ng araw na may dalang liwanag.
Gumising na, araw ng pag-asa'y narito na. Dumating din, harapin natin. Basta tayo'y magkasama, laging mayroong umaga. Kay ganda, parang sikat ng araw, may dalang liwanag sa ating pangarap.
Haharapin natin,
basta tayo'y magkasama, laging mayroong umaga. Kay ganda, parang sikat ng araw, may dalang liwanag sa ating pangarap.
haharapin natin. Narito ako, umiibig, laging tulala at ligalig. Heto na naman at halos di mapakali sa damdamin na pinakamimithi. Narito ako na lagi nang nakatingin sa mga ulan at bituin. Narito ako maawit ng mga kundimang kay tamis. Napagkataas, lumilipad itong isip. Kalayaan ko, aking inaawit. Narito ako, na lagi na nakatingin sa mga ulap at bituin. Puso't isip ko ay isa ang hiwatig. Narito ako, umiibig. May kutob ako, pumipintig. Ito na sa wakas, ang narito ako, na lagi na nakatingin sa mga ulap at bituin. Puso't isip ko ay isa ang hiwatig. Narito ako, umiibig.
Ako'y may panaginip, umiinom sa dumadaloy na batis. Ngunit patuloy akong nauuhaw. Ako'y may panaginip, nagsasarap ang mga pagkain ang nakahain. Ngunit ako'y nagugutom pa rin. Pangarap ko'y pangarap ng lahat. Kasayahan at kaligayahan sa ating buhay. Ako'y may panaginip, hawak ko ay nagmamahalang mga hiyas. Ngunit dulot nito'y paghihirap. Ako'y may panaginip, nagsisiksikang mga tao sa paligiran. Ngunit isa man ay wala akong kaibigan. Pangarap kapayapaan ng kalooban, makakamtan lamang sa pagpala ng may kapal.
Hey, magandang gabi, magandang umaga, magandang hapon. Welcome to OPM Sundays. I'm Leslie DJ here in Piscataway Land, Washington, D.C., but I grew up in Caloocan City, Manila, Philippines.
And I'm Joel Quizon, Chumash Tongva, Quishland, Los Angeles, California, originally from Marikina, Philippines. Usapang OPM, thank you for joining us. Usapang OPM features conversations on OPM, original Filipino music, with artists and key players from its origins through today. OPM is the Philippine pop music tradition that emerged from the Manila sound of the late 1970s. OPM initially described music composed and performed by Filipino artists, or its current unifying and all-encompassing term describing music created by Filipinx artists from the Philippines and the diaspora.
We'll be talking about the roots of the movement, the creators, the songs, the untold stories, and the lasting influence. Tonight, we'll be listening to some songs and talking story or makikipagkwentuhan with our special guests. But first, let me tell you about my friend Joel. Joel Quizon is an arts and culture curator and programmer, filmmaker, and DJ. Projects include the Cotabato Sessions, Disco Manila, and Counterflow, Currents, and New Philippine Music.
And Les Talusan is a DJ, photographer, curator, teaching artist, and organizer whose practice immerses people in the joy of discovery, empowerment, and community. This approach is informed by Les's own story of resilience, liberation, and courage as an immigrant, mother, and VS. So thank you all for joining. We're going to get right into it because we have really awesome guests. So we're so happy and honored to have our first guest. He is one of the founding members of VST and Company. You all know, one of the great bands of the Manila Sound, OPM era of the late 70s and early 80s. And he's also, we're going to learn more about it. He's one of the founding people in terms of the Popular Music Foundation of the Philippines and the Metro Manila Popular Music Festival, or better known as Metropop. So we're going to just bring him up. Let's bring up Roger Rigor.
Ta-da!
Hey.
Roger.
Hey, Joel. Hey, Les. Hi. How are you guys? Thank you. Thank you. Hey, more power to you for bringing up OPM the way, a lot of people love OPM, man. Thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you. We are so honored to have you for our first Usapang OPM. Wait a minute. Where are we at? Okay. So, Roger.
Yes. Yes.
I first met you when we did Disco Manila together in 2016. 2016.
Yeah, man.
And I want to give a shout out to Jet
Montalibano.
Jet Montalibano for hooking us up together to work on that project, and for you performing and kind of starting the Disco Manila journey with me and everyone. And that was really fun. And you did it with your brother,
Spanky
Rigor. And so, tell us a little bit about VST. Everyone knows, there's a lot of record folks here. People collect Filipino records. And, VST record right now, if you go on eBay, the last probably costs $200, $300.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just looked recently. Starting bid, so that's common. So we're going to have a lot of people who are in that kind of, who are into that and know VST in terms of that. So tell us a little bit about VST. How did it start? How did you get involved?
Well, all right. VST actually is Vic Soto, Spanky, my brother, and Tito Soto. Those three guys were the ones who actually went into the studio to do the first the first single. Okay, the first single, Awitin Mo't Isasayaw Ko and Ikaw Ang Aking Mahal. And of course, they were the ones who actually, with Lori Ilustre as the arranger, it, as the story goes, the guys came in to do the vocals, and as it went, it went. The DJs did not like the side A, which was Ikaw Ang Aking Mahal. They loved a more upbeat one, which was the side B, which is the Ikaw, Awitin Mo't Isasayaw Ko.
So
And
what year
so
was this, Roger? What year was
that
this?
was in 1978. That was in 1978, and it didn't take long because it started playing. I mean, the suddenly the recording company said we gotta have some folks out on TV because people are now wondering who these guys are playing this song. So our first, and Spanky came by at Little Baguio and said, you guys, that we're gonna have to come out on TV. And I was still working at Metropop at that time.
Oh, so you started at Metropop before you were in VST.
Yes, I was already
Well,
with Metropop before I became a VST. Yes.
so before we'll go in more about
Yeah.
VST, but since we're talking about Metropop, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that and the foundation and
Yes.
what's that at the beginning, and then we're going to bring out our next guest.
Yes.
So go
Sure.
ahead and talk a
Yes.
little bit about it.
Yes. Well, the Metropop actually, and the VST and Metropop were happening all at the same time, and that's why I have my aviator glasses on because I was coming from work.
Oh,
Metropop.
sweet.
Our first television appearance at Channel 4, and I just barely made it. And as soon as I got there, I forgot to take off my glasses, and Tito said, "No, from then on, from here on in, you're not going to take that glasses off."
So you mean this one? This was
That
this
yes,
one?
oh my God, yes, that was our first TV appearance.
There
That
you
was
are with
our
the
first.
aviators.
Yeah, and I just came from the jeepney at that point.
Now
I I just was running late. So anyway, and so yeah, and so the talking about the Metropop, that was the time when a lot of things began to happen as far as OPM was concerned. Uh, so
so
we'll talk
tell-
more about it. Yeah.
yeah, so let's bring out one of your
Yes.
colleagues from
Yeah.
Metropop.
I'm really honored. We haven't seen each other. In fact, we just saw each other literally uh, just today, and I got hold of her like last week. After the last time we saw each other was in early 80s, and I learned that she's in Canada. And this lady that I'm about to introduce is the one who did the legwork for the broadcasters. And so I'm very honored to introduce my former boss at the Metropop Foundation, Miss Emmie Joaquin. Yes.
Hello.
Hi, Emmy.
Hi, Emmy.
Hi.
Welcome. Hello po,
Hello.
Ate
Welcome.
Emmy.
Hello,
Hi,
Les.
Emmy.
Hi.
And so Emmy here. Yes, Emmy. If I were to explain, Emmy is the broadcaster, and I am the guy from the music orbit, the recording orbit, so to speak. So
So tell us about the foundation or the Filipino. Let me get this right. What was the name?
popular music.
Popular Music Foundation of the Philippines.
So,
Thank you, thank you. Tell us
Yes.
about that because that was the organization that started Metropop, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead, Emmy.
so we go back 44 years, right? 77.
Yes. Yes.
77. Oh my God, it's a long time ago. And the music industry at the time was, let's say, a little bit slow. Although Manila
Mhm.
Sound was already at the time quite
Yes.
popular, but not that
Right.
popular. And the broadcast industry and the recording industry decided to collaborate, and they formed the Metro Manila Popular Music Foundation of the Philippines. And the major objective is to create awareness and appreciation among the public of the original Filipino music. Because at that time, sad to say, most of the airplay, music on radio that you hear were covers or foreign artists. and we had to support the local industry at the time. So
Mhm.
the foundation was created, and one of its objectives was to produce Metropop, and it's to provide incentive to the composer, because at the time only the performers were being given recognition, right, Raj?
Yes, yes,
The
we could.
composers
Yes,
were just being left behind. They don't even own their songs once
that's
they're
right.
released in they're released. It's owned by the recording company, and then the composer does not even have the royalty. Was a joke, you know.
Yes, yes,
So they don't get any reward. Their creativity is not appreciated. So there was a need to bring them up so that we
right.
recognize them and appreciate
Yeah,
them, give them
yeah,
recognition, monetary reward, and so on. So Metropop was created, and OPM, and then history.
yes.
Great. So who coined the term OPM and what was the origin?
It
Because
just happened,
we read different things. I mean, they said I read somewhere it was Manila Sound before, and
Yeah,
then it
Tell us
turned
a little
into
bit about Manila
OPM.
Sound.
Yes.
So who
yeah.
maybe Roger, you could talk about what is Manila Sound first. Let's talk about.
Yes, Manila
Yeah.
Sound. Manila Sound was the sound that was initiated during the time of Cinderella and Hot Dog,
right?
right? And that was that was in the mid 70s, like 73, 74. And that was at the onset of the Miss Universe, when Miss Universe was held at in the Philippines. Hot Dog was already having their songs like Ikaw ang Miss Universe ng buhay ko, and then that one song with Ella Del Rosario, and then it was followed with Cinderella. So because of that, Manila, it had its flavor. So that was Manila Sound.
Up, up.
That was Manila
Yeah,
Sound.
hot dog
And then
actually had a lot to do, right, Raj?
ano niya?
Hot dog.
Yes, Hot Dog had a lot to do with it. But before Hot Dog and Cinderella, the very first one who actually had, the impetus of local creation in the vernacular in Tagalog, because before that era, English was the norm. I mean, it was English. It was covers. Yeah.
Yeah, sad to say, at the time there was a barrier between the class and the bakya, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So bakya,
that
let's just
time,
explain real quickly what bakya is. I guess
Yes.
like
Wooden shoes.
cheesy.
Yes.
Cheesy.
Yes, wooden shoes is the bakya. It's got its nuance to the mass crowd. The bakya is the
or
no. There's that class. That classism is very very strong at that time. So if
Yes.
you had
Which is very
a
unfortunate because bakya is
yes,
awesome. I used to
yes,
wear bakya when I was a kid.
absolutely. Even the music was iconic. Eddie
Yes.
Peregrina, and Tirso Cruz and Edgar Mortiz. These were the pre
Big
Manila
Wood.
Sound.
Apa.
Yeah, the pre. So Victor Wood, yes, pre Manila Sound. And then Joey Smith came in with this Ang Himig Natin, and that
Juan de la
was
Cruz.
really that really boggled everyone, because wow, that was really cool. RJ was the one, DZRJ was the one who actually get that. And so
RJ.
yeah, and so that was the Manila Sound. And
Apa.
then OPM, original Filipino music, actually was really like became really the term when Metropop was actually put into play.
So who coined it?
actually we had a lot of creative people in our group, right, Raj? So
Right.
just it was just all
It
of a
was
sudden just saying OPM. You know how Filipinos love acronyms.
Oh,
right.
So
we
we're
love acronyms.
original Filipino music, although it's an F or P, but we were encouraging original Filipino music. So naging
Yes.
OPM, then OPM na siya. So
OPM na siya.
oo,
Parang
OPM.
we
which
realized
was
it would create a big change in the
right.
industry in the Philippines, for that matter.
When you
Amazing.
really think about it, OPM parang weird, di ba? Original Filipino music. You don't say original American music, right? Or original Chinese music, right? Because they're all
It's
original and they're,
catchy.
yeah.
It's
But
catchy.
yes, it is. And so the broadcasters and those guys actually made it formal so that it became a policy by the Broadcast Media Council to the radio programs. And I think, Emmy, you can say something about this because of
Yeah,
the whole,
and
prior to that, there
yeah,
was this practice.
let's not forget at that time the biggest problem of the industry, both the broadcasters and the recording industry, was payola.
Yes.
Payola. Let's
Yes.
explain payola to
Yes.
people.
Yes. Go ahead and say what the payola is, Les. What is your
Payola is
understanding by it?
bribe, right? Bribery.
Bribery.
Like
Red tape.
yeah. Well, money is difficult, and so who has the money? The foreign labels, right?
Right.
So you have a radio station, you have a DJ. The DJ plays your song once, twice, 4 times per hour. That's exactly payola. And when you hear that often, it becomes a hit, right?
Right.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
so
You
the
get brainwashed, really, if you
yeah,
hear it enough.
yeah, the public at the time was only exposed to these foreign labels
Mhm.
with the
So
local
is
artists that
this
being supported.
so the mandate that happened where you had to play one Filipino music, every hour? Well, was that the four? What
Yes.
was what? So what was that? Why did that start? How did that start?
Can I say that? Can I talk about this, Raj?
Yes. Yes. Go
Remember the
ahead.
martial law? Okay,
Right.
martial law.
Good. Yes, I was going to say the context. We're still in the middle of martial law.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And at the time, KBP was created by the broadcast industry to be proactive in terms of regulating themselves.
Excuse me. So people don't know. So KBP is kapisanan ng mga broadcaster sa Pilipinas, meaning the
Philippine Association of Broadcasters.
broadcasters. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So
they
it was composed of all the network owners, all the radio and TV. Remember, social media was unheard of,
yes.
right? So
Mhm.
radio, TV, print, those are the powerful media we had at the time. So, and radio, because it's the cheapest, anybody can own a transistor radio.
Mhm.
That was the medium that was really very strong and very powerful at the time. So when OPM was born, KBP mandated. So it was like, you have to do this, 4
Right.
OPM per hour.
Right.
And they were complaining, why would we play all 4 OPMs? We don't have the materials. So here comes Metropop. We provide you with the
Right.
materials to play. We provide you with
Yes.
the songs. You
Ah,
play it. They have to. It was funny because martial law. They had to log it. They had to report it. They have to. They were being monitored, but it was in
Yep.
a good way, right? Because it was giving the local composers the recognition. They,
yeah.
Yeah.
they
It
have
was
a,
a
Amazing.
So it,
you.
it it achieved what it was trying to do, right? For like it lasted. Okay. So I mean,
It. Yeah.
oh, go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
No. 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 I was gonna say it sparked on the whole generation of songs that just cascaded. It turns
Yeah.
out that Filipinos were really good songwriters.
Yes. So I mean, that's basically what happened then in this late 70s through early 80s period of like a really rich and fruitful time in the music industry. So what did it mean for artists at that point when that happened? What did it mean for all the musicians and composers?
It was golden harvest.
golden era.
It
The
was the
golden
golden
era.
harvest. Yeah, the golden era. It suddenly you found artists. Freddie Aguilar came out.
Oh yeah,
Sharon Cuneta came
a
out. Ray
good story,
Valera.
right? Yeah,
All, yeah. It was just everyone just came out. All these beautiful songs were being written, and the one thing that was really distinctive about that era was the way it was recorded. Musicians were accessible. You
Yeah.
could hear Metropop, even, with our band, for example, we were the only band that had access to real live orchestra to back us up because it was accessible and it was promoted. and it was supported. If I may say so, in Asia at that time, Filipino music was way ahead of the rest of the countries. We were ahead of Japan. We were ahead of Korea, uh, Hong Kong. We were ahead of them because our music was being played originally. Remember the Blackbuster?
I was about to bring that
Blockbuster,
up.
yes.
Of
Tell us
course.
about Blockbuster.
Yes, can you please talk about Blockbuster?
Okay, Blackbuster was the product of the Manila sound era. Okay, but they what they did was they kind of express themselves as like people who hear Blockbuster think that they are a black, American group, you know. But when debuted, uh, they finally debuted in 1977. Okay, this was in 1977 at the height of the disco. All right, a band from the U.S. came to the Philippines, the Ritchie family.
Right.
The Ritchie family had a concert in the Philippines. And the Vicor Music decided that this would be the day or the concert that Blackbuster's going to have. It's coming out. That finally it's going to be known to the world that these guys are actually Filipinos. It was Nanette Inventor, and the guys, the Ilacad brothers, Bob Guzman, who's now boyfriend, and Willie Cruz, it was a power pack band.
Yeah, it's
You
such
know,
a good example of how amazing the production work was, the musicianship at that era. Like when you listen to Blockbuster records, and really also like VST records, right? Obviously, like that's why it's timeless. That era, that music. That's why these records are like $200, $300.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
and impossible to find.
Well,
But
not Blockbuster though. For some
yeah, not
reason,
Blockbuster still. Yeah,
Blockbuster is
right.
still affordable, but y'all, it's so good. Like so many gems in each release.
Yeah.
So many.
You know that concert, the Ritchie family.
Yes, yes, please tell
Oh
us.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
what happened was Gladys Knight was there. By the way, he came to
Oh
watch it
wow.
because he wanted to see who is this Blackbuster. And of
Yeah,
course, he knew the guys from the Ritchie family, so he was there.
yeah,
Because Gladys Knight had a concert at Folk Arts, so
With
he
the
came to
Pips
watch because this was shown in Araneta
yeah.
at
It's
Araneta
and
19.
Coliseum.
College.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
packed. I had a minor role in that show
Tell us, tell us.
Did you play?
because there was a song called King Kong. It was a song by Blackbuster entitled King Kong. Well, I dressed up in an ape. I was King Kong coming in
Oh
from the
my
crowd.
gosh.
Como sabe Kong? And I came in. But anyway,
With aviators? No, no aviators.
no,
That would have
That's
been cool.
VST only.
I was with the guys. Yeah. So anyway, the Blockbuster portion just rocked the whole Coliseum. And by the time
Legendary.
by the time Ritchie family came out, by the middle of their set, people started to beeline,
Yeah.
which was, which
You all heard it here first.
That's a legendary story.
People got bored of the Ritchie family after
Yeah.
seeing Blockbuster on their debut show at the Araneta
Yeah.
Coliseum, which is a huge venue back home. If I recall correctly, is that where Sonic Youth and Beastie Boys played? Am I correct, Mr. Enriquez? Do you remember?
16,000
Wow.
people that
That's a
And,
huge
you know,
venue.
the manager of Ritchie family was livid. He said, "You didn't have to do what you did." They were really angry, and as the story goes, we didn't realize it was going to be that. We were like the guys, the band were just apologetic because they didn't realize they were going to be received that way. So
So basically, what you're telling us is our own people weren't ready for our own people at that point. they were shocked.
they were shocked. And that's
So-
that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so Blockbuster, who else was in it? Nanette. It was basically like some of the
Yes.
best musicians around
Yeah.
at that point,
Yeah.
right?
Nanette Inventor, Charo Unite, Ida Firme, and then for bass guitar you have Guy Ilacad, the brother of Orly Ilacad, and keyboard Sunny Ilacad. Another keyboard is Willie Cruz. The drummer is Snafu. And then the lead guitar was Bob Guzman, who's now the Boyfriends.
Boyfriends, yeah.
And
Boyfriends.
Celso Lerina was in the rhythm.
VST also.
And Spanky was in the vocals. And then there was a percussionist. I forgot his name. He's very well-known percussionist. And of course, you have Mang Doming Amarillo and his 16-piece orchestra behind.
Yeah, so let's kind of go back a little bit to the Metropop and talk to us about like what it was, and some of the artists that came from that, some of the songs that that won the award. Talk about like yeah. Like what was it? It was a festival. What set the scene for us? What was it? What was it?
Go ahead, Emmie. Set the scene.
One of the important things that happened at the time.
You're on mute.
Oh, am I on mute?
No, you're good. We
You're
can hear
good.
you.
Okay. So we started joining international music festivals, remember? So Haji and Ryan were Soul Song Festival, first prize. Snafu and Freddie Aguilar, second Metropop. Soul Song Festival, first prize again, right, Raj? And then there was the Tokyo Music Festival, Ottawa,
Hong Kong.
Then Pacific Music Festival, Hong Kong, and then all these festivals. So everybody became known, and all the even the amateur composers were really eager to participate because they know that if they win, there's a chance for them to be known internationally. And that happened already. Freddie,
and even
good, right? But he was one of the winners. Did not win a prize, but he's the biggest winner of all because even before he sang in the finals, he was already signed up by Vicor.
Right.
You're talking about Ka Freddy, right? Freddie Aguilar.
Yes.
And so he was already winning awards before the Metropop Festival. No, not yet. Okay.
Freddie Aguilar was basically a folk singer who was rather, playing in some of the folk houses. He came from Olonga po. And he was in Manila, and then he submitted that song Anak. I was the one who actually called him up on the phone and said, Freddie, is this Freddie Aguilar? Opo, ito si Freddie Aguilar. Ito si Roger Rigor ng Metropop, isa ka sa finalist. Wag ko kayo nagbibiro ng ganyan at lalaglag po ako.
Wait, he said he has a fever?
Yeah, he has a fever. And he said, wag po kayo nagbibiro ng ganyan at nilalagnat po ako, sabi.
Don't joke about that because I have a fever, said Freddie Aguilar for being nominated.
Right, for being one of the finalists.
I remember
Which song was
finalist.
I remember the day he went to our office after Roger called him, and with his hat, and we we knew him, but we didn't know he was going to be a big star. So Roger and I were saying, "Tingnan mo yung sombrero, kasi beaded eh. It was beaded."
Yes.
That was his signature hat. Remember at the time?
Yes. In the middle of broad daylight, noontime in Manila is terribly a hot day. But we saw a guy come off a jeepney in the middle of Makati in Rizal, Jose Rizal Avenue. This guy who was wearing velvet pants, clogged shoes that was sequined, and a hat that was sequined, coming off a jeepney. And he had a long sleeve shirt that was velveteen. And the very first thing we said was, that is Freddie Aguilar. There's no doubt. And sure enough, that was Freddie. He comes in and said, nandito po ba, ito po ba ang Metropop? And so I said,
Was it for Anak? That was the song that Anak. Yes. Tell us about Anak a little bit, maybe.
Yes. So he actually, so he became before even before the finals night, because the finalists were announced in December, because the Metropop entry of song entries started in November. We started the promotion of the festival in September. So contestants, composers started turning in their work. So once he knew that he was a finalist in December, and the show was in March, so there was a lag in time, and that's when we found out that he was a finalist. That's when I told Vic Del Rosario, because at that time the one who was popular was Florante.
Oh,
Huy isang Pinoy.
Mhm.
He was the one. He was the only one who had that niche. And so when we heard of
Pinoy
Freddie,
folk, basically. Pinoy
yes,
folk, right?
yes, yeah, Pinoy folk, yeah. And he was the only folk singer that was doing cutting records at that time. There was no a scene, I mean, they were still starting off in bodega and
Just
all that.
Florante.
Yes, and so when Freddie, Freddie didn't have any recording, anything. So I was the one who actually called Victor Rosario and said, "Hey, Vic, you got somebody here you can now pit against Florante." And so he didn't know who I was talking about, of course. So he told me, go introduce him to Celso. Celso Llerina, who's part of the band, is a producer as well. So I said, Celso, this is Freddie, go ahead. And so they met, and they were the ones who actually, Celso became his producer and produced the song Anak. And Anak didn't win
Celso,
any
your
place.
bandmate, Celso.
Yes. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. He and Freddie hit it up right away, because they're both
That
Ilocano.
record.
They're,
Yes.
they're both Ilocano. They're both natives. So
Amazing.
So in the festival itself, his song never earned any place, because that's one of the problems we actually after the festival, we both Emmy and our group talked about it and said, one of the things that's still prevalent among the audience is star quality. Star quality. If your interpreter has star quality, it has a bigger impact rather than somebody who's unknown. So,
But
we
that's
talked about
for the first one, because
Yeah.
he did end up winning a grand prize.
in the second one. See,
Second one, yes.
yes,
He wasn't the composer, Raj. It's Nafu.
yes,
Snafu.
It
Your
was my brother who gave.
Your
Yeah,
brother.
yes, my brother. Yeah, and I
Thank you.
said, "Oh my God!" I didn't have anything to do with that. Doesn't mean because I worked with Metropop, you be the judge, But yeah, and
How,
so
how, oh, go ahead.
yeah, and Anak, the reason it hit a lot of folks at that time when it get so the festival was the first time people heard Anak, right? Everyone went, wow, that was a beautiful song. But it didn't win any award. The first place went to Haji, the second place went to Apo, and the third place went to Celeste Legaspi. But Freddie was fourth. So, but the recording guys, Tito Soto, who was decided to debut the song on Good Friday.
A
Of
knock
that
on Good Friday.
on
Wait,
Good
so
Friday.
it didn't even place. It didn't place at
It didn't
all
place
in the
at all.
first one, because it
And
says,
then it,
grand prizes kay gandang ng ating musika. Pagdating mo ni Celeste, narito
Right,
ako ni Marie Chris, which is I think
right,
one of the songs I
right,
played earlier. And then the
right.
fourth prize was by Anthony Castello.
Antonio Castello, that's right, Oo, tama.
yeah, but then it became this worldwide phenomenon, right? All
Yes,
over like Asia, really, right?
yes, it
So
hit num.
many. There's even like Malaysian covers of Anak. There's
Yes,
Japanese.
So many covers.
yes,
I found a Thai version of Anak,
yeah,
by the
yeah.
way.
You
I was
know,
really surprised.
ask any Japanese during that time. Anak hit number one in Tokyo, besting Barbara Streisand's song for number one for about weeks and weeks. And it was the original. So told you something about how we were already way ahead of the game. That unfortunately nowadays it's Korea who's making an impact, but we were way out there.
Yeah.
Back in the day. We can get back there.
Let's
I
get
mean,
back
we'll
there.
get there.
Yes, you guys. Yeah.
We'll find
yeah.
our voice again. Well,
Yes.
how did you both get involved
Yeah.
with the Metro
When
Manila Popular
Metropop.
Music Festival?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you get involved?
I was with just graduated from UP at the time, and I joined the Kapisanan ng mga Broadcasters and the Broadcast Media Council. It was just an experience, great experience, because I was a broadcast major, and here I am. I was in the broadcast industry. So, and then that was when the Metropop was created, because Cadoroy Valencia, he was the journalist. He was the chairman of Kapisanan ng mga Broadcasters, KBP at the time, and Tony Barrero of Broadcast Media Council. They were talking to Vic Del Rosario and Willie Cruz and the other recording, executives, and then they decided to bring in and create the foundation. So it was actually a baby of KBP and BMC, Broadcast Media Council. And then at that time, we were the secretariat, Roger. So Roger, Rigor, June Magsalin, who can't be with us today, and myself, we were the three members of the secretariat, just the three of us. But we had the support of the entire KBP staff, so we were good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
Tell-
fun, right, Raj? It was
Yeah,
fun.
I want to hear about that. How was that environment? Like, that
It
was
was
1970. What year was it again?
1977,
1977.
the summer.
How? Okay, tell us, describe us. How was it?
It was crazy.
I'm sure it was fun.
Guys. It was fun. I was just fresh from my college. I just was
Yeah.
fresh from graduating from college. I was disappointed because my major was tourism and hotel management. Okay, that's where I finished in, because the hotel industry at that time, tourism was booming in the Philippines. Japanese tourists were everywhere. I was so disappointed. I'll tell you this in public now. I was disappointed with my thesis, right? My thesis was about hotel projects, having all kinds of music or special projects in a hotel. And then the dean who was going through my thesis said, well, what are you talking about? Hotel is about food and beverage and rooms. What is this whole thing about music and all that? I was so disappointed. In other words, I said, that's it. I'm not going to go anywhere. And then Annie's office called me and said, we have a festival here and you want to work on a project? I said, yes. and
Saved you.
Well, yeah. I mean, I came in there. I was just so, enthusiastic. The enthusiasm was there, but we didn't know what we were supposed to come up with. Remember, Emmy?
Remember the first Metropop? Because
Yes.
it was held at the Folk Arts Theater. And I think the capacity was, I don't know,
14,000.
14,000.
Yes.
We were afraid nobody would come.
Yeah.
We were afraid only the relatives and the friends of the finalists would be there, right?
Yes.
So what
we were
happened? What happened?
We were afraid nobody would actually fill in the whole Metropop, the whole, folk arts.
Folk arts.
Folk arts. But we had the support of our
Radio.
director. Yeah, radio, plugged it in. We were the ones who actually did the copy, today's hits, tomorrow's classics. That's the copy. How about the logo? What kind of logo we're gonna? So I went to, this is the logo. Okay, go ahead and have that printed right now. How about the poster? How we're gonna? Let's see how the poster is gonna go. That kind of energy. You didn't know what you had, right? And then of course the screening. How are we going to screen the songs? What are the things that we're going to look at? How if a song is beautiful or not? We even had a song that we came in and said, That it was Nonong Pedero's composition.
There's the logo right there.
There's the logo,
You
and that was
designed that?
I designed
Yeah.
that, and I asked Emmy, "Oh, Emmy, is this okay? Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead and look for a place to have it fixed." And I found a marble company. It's made out of marble. We were looking for a glass, but we couldn't find one that was glass. But it was made of marble. But that was good enough. White marble was the you know the
And at the
trophy.
time, Raj, remember, we had to ask the radio stations, TV stations, to put the ad to promote the finals. Just
Right, right,
But
right.
then still we were afraid, baka we may just be the only ones there, and the finalists. I remember that
Yes,
everybody was
yes,
So
so.
how
yes.
many years of that of the festival? How long did it go for?
We were together for I was there for the first 3 years, because in the second year, yeah,
Okay.
3 years, but it went on for I think 5 or 6 Metropops.
Okay.
And of course, the whole you know getting the radio station to promote entries to come in. We had about 2,000 compositions on the first Metropop, 2,000. And we had, screening committees that went through the song, each one. I remember there was a song that Nonong Pedero wrote, and it sounded like a Stevie Wonder song. And we had to tell him, we're sorry, but we can't have it. And he was livid. He said, I didn't copy that. I didn't do anything with it. I said, well, it does have that song. It sounded like the world is a ghetto. The world is a ghetto, and that was the melodic pattern that he. But of course, it just sounded the same. So we're sorry.
Well,
So
I'm assuming that was never released.
no, it was never. I
Do you
don't
have a
really.
copy of this? We need this song.
And yeah, he was really really angry. But then he went on to do that isang mundo isang awit. He
Yes, which
already
we will play later.
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
And he
speaking of, yeah, go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
yeah, and then of course, we had to look for who's going to arrange all these entries, the finalists. I said, Doming Amarillo is the only one I know, and so
The Amarillo, right?
yeah, the Amarillo, Mang Doming,
Ang Doming.
Doming. And then who's gonna get all the musicians? I also know one guy, Jun Regalado. Jun Regalado is the drummer. And
Amazing.
so I just went to them and said, hey, you guys want to do the Metro Pop Festival? Yeah, we heard about that festival, man. Okay, sure. But little did I, yeah.
And at the
Go
time,
ahead.
Raj, I remember it was really popular because the price was like 50,000 pesos plus
Right.
around like a trip around the world or something. So
Yes.
total 100,000 pesos, and that was big in 78. 77,
Yes.
78.
And
So
then the second Metro Pop, it went up to
100.
100,000. If you won, you will the first prize check was 100,000 pesos.
Wow.
So
And all the
even
musicians were paid. Huh? All the musicians
Let's-
were paid.
Let's tell
Yeah.
people what's the equivalent of that right now in dollars, like from back in the day.
at that time it was still 4-1.
Wow, dollars used to
1977.
be $1 to
That's-
4 pesos. That's insane. Now it's 45, which is actually
Yeah.
really like it's pretty high,
Yes, and that would
Wow.
have been $25,000.
which is a lot of money in the 70s.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. And
And
so
this was government funded?
yes.
Okay, how did we get the funding?
Yes.
It was a foundation, and it wasn't actually government funded in a sense, but the signatory to the letter of solicitation was Mrs. Marcos.
Yes. It was a
So
Marcos-
through their program, because that was the
Because culture was a big thing for her at the time.
Right.
the
So, yeah, let's-
beautification.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And that's with the big influence of why OPM arose, right? Is because of this push, like internationally, to show the world that the Philippines is like a cultural center, right? A city of modernity and things like. So it was really that was the music was a part of that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I, you know,
and yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
I
kind
mean,
of. Oh,
go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Because we're
Yeah,
going to get to our listening session portion of the program, so it's a good time to. But we can go ahead and finish a thought there, Roger.
I was going to say, if it wasn't for the government support, if it wasn't the push to actually support an industry, that wouldn't have been possible. And I think the reason why a lot of our other contemporaries during that time, like Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, decided to really push it in the way that the Philippines got pushed with that support. And unfortunately for our industry, economically speaking, it dragged everything back to where we are. And then compared to the rest of the countries, it pushed them to where they are now.
Yeah.
So that's just how it has become.
Actually,
Yeah.
I thought OPM would have a resurgence when the likes of River Maya, the likes of Eraserhead,
In the 90s, yeah.
bands
Yeah.
with
Right.
songs. But
Yeah.
then
Well,
after
Side A.
there was in the
Yes.
90s. So when
Yes.
I was in the Philippines at that time, and I was also
Mhm.
playing in a bunch of bands back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember, especially when oh my goodness, why am I blanking right now? There was a band that came out, and I just remembered thinking, this is
So,
amazing, and I bought the tape.
side A,
No, not side A.
Mhm.
Oh,
Parokya ni Edgar. Wasn't
Local
the
Brown. It was Local Brown,
Oh,
actually. When
okay.
Local Brown
Wow.
came out, and
Yes.
I was a tween when this came out, and I was just thinking like, this is Filipino music, and this sounded cool. And Eraserhead's first album was really great too. And
Yes.
I think the reason why songs like Sumayaw Sumunod
Mm-hmm.
by Boyfriends that it was really big in the 90s because
Mm-hmm.
it was covered. And there were songs by
Mm.
Ella del Rosario that was covered by
Right.
Madeline Reynes, late 80s,
Right.
early 90s.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, there was a
there was
resurgence.
an
Yes.
attempt.
Yeah. Yes. And that's good to know because in the way it's going now, with the way it's making its headway here because of you guys, it is spawning a lot of other, takeoff. Which
Yeah,
very
we were talking
Mhm.
about really like the OPM playlist on Spotify is one of the most played playlists in the world. You know, it
Wow.
because there's a lot of Filipinos all over the world, right?
Yes, there's
But it is
a lot of us.
but
Yeah.
and OPM in terms of like new OPM or
Mhm. Mhm.
it's taken hold in different places from
Yes.
different
Yes.
from the Philippines, from
Yes.
artists in the United States. So it's really kind of finding its way now, I feel, because
Yes.
of the internet, right? It's before
Yes.
it was like who can get a record, but now it's like you can just find it on any platform and listen to all this music, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And we are just Emmy and I, and I'm sure the rest of our generation is just so just so happy to be seeing this how it's blossoming to where it was
I
before.
was
Oh,
It's
we're
very
Yeah.
I was surprised when Roger told me about you guys, and I said, "Wow, that's amazing!" Because when you're away from the Philippines and you no longer listen to the radio, you don't watch TV, Filipinos. It's amazing that you guys are promoting this and letting others know, like your generation. That I'm happy.
but the thing is, Joel grew up in the Philippines a little bit. I left the Philippines when I was an adult, but listening to OPM feels like home. So I don't know. It's just yeah. That's why I like individually we've been doing this. Like playing OPM. I would DJ at a shop. Like a clothing store. I remember it was like a Neiman Marcus shop, and I would like sneak in VST. So like people are shopping and they're like, what is this? But yeah, so we've been doing OPM Sundays in the past 6 months, and but we call it OPM plus. So Joel, is that okay? We talk about real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. Let's talk about that real quick. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let's start. So because it's not just OPM
And it
that we
sounds like a
play.
streaming service. We're not a streaming service. OPM
We're not
Plus.
We're
On
not a streaming
Hulu.
service. So it's
Mhm.
original Filipino music plus, like we
Mhm.
play covers by Filipinos, we play
Mhm.
songs that are written by Filipinos, or like if a band member is Filipino. So
Mhm.
now our, like how we define it is OPM plus, original Filipino music plus, roots, pop, and covers from the Philippines and the diaspora. So
Beautiful.
yeah, so that's
That's
what
beautiful.
Joel and I play every Sunday, and it's been over 6 months now that we've been doing it, and now you're in our debut show. We're so thankful.
Well, thank
Well, it
I
can
mean, it's a
only
great
go.
talk
Yeah.
show.
It
Well,
can
you know,
only
this
go. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good time to start our listening session portion of the
Yeah.
program. We're
Yes.
gonna play some key songs. We're not gonna, and then maybe talk about it. So
Sure.
let's go for the first one. Les, are you ready?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ready.
Go for it.
Just play a
Yes.
little bit of it.
Mula nung ako'y natutong umawit, naging makulay ang aking munting daigdig. Tila ilog pala ang paghimig, kung malalim damdami pag-ibig, kung umapaw ang kaluluwa tinig, ay sadyang nanginginig. Magmula nung ako'y natutong umawit,
We're nerds.
bawat sandali aking pilit mabatid ang himig na maituturing atin, mapupuri pagkat pupundangi. Di marami ang di magsasabing eto na inyong dinggin. Kay ganda ng ating musika, kay ganda ng ating musika, ito ay atin, sariling atin, at sa habang buhay, awitin natin.
So folks, that is Haji Alejandro, Kay Ganda ng Ating Musika, music, lyrics, and arrangement, Bayan Kayabyab, and the grand prize winner of the first Metro Manila Popular Music Festival. Let's talk about the
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
You know,
What did you first thought listening to that?
I remember when the first rehearsal we had, that was the very first rehearsal, and Al Queen, the late Al Queen, was the director. And I remember when Haji first came into the stage, he had this look in his face like, I'm going to take this. Like he was just beginning his career, and it seems like the Metropop was going to be his career. Of course, behind him was Ryan Cayabyab. And you notice that Ryan, because everybody else arrangement was Mang Doming, and of course Ryan wanted his arranged. It's different. Kaya, ikaw, Emmy, what do you remember?
I just remember it was called Killer na mga Kolegyala, right?
Right.
Yes, ano ba yun? Hindi killer.
Kilabot. Kilabot.
Kilabot. Kilabot ng Kolehiyala.
Ginawa kong killer. Kilabot.
What
Yeah.
is that in English? Kilabot ng Kolehiyala. Like,
It is the killing. You get the chills. You get the chills when you see
college girl. Chilled
Yeah.
college girl. Chilly college girls.
Yeah. Haji was one of those from the circus band, right? The iconic circus band.
Yes.
Yeah, circus band
And
with
yeah,
that's
with
like a kind of a power. I mean, a super group of
Powerhouse,
sorts, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Who else
Powerhouse
was in there? Tili Moreno.
Tilo Moreno, Basil Valdez,
Basil.
Didit
Jackie?
Reyes,
No. Was
Jackie
Jackie Magno?
Magno,
Yes,
Jackie
Jackie
Magno, yeah, Richard Tan, and what's his name?
Habs Daddy was there?
Pabs the
Bob's
Divas.
the
Yes,
Divas. Yeah.
yes. It was a power band, and Basil never wanted to be in the pop festival because he didn't like the competitive nature of the festival. It was
Interesting.
Haji who had that fighting spirit, and he really with a lot of gusto. Yeah.
And you kept on telling them that this is not your contest. This is the composer's contest.
Yes, I know.
There as
I
an
know.
interpreter, no?
Yes, yes. And we
Art
had to,
composer.
yes, we had to quell them down and said, guys, this is really focusing on the composers. And of course, see, Ryan was very modest. Ryan was very, oh yeah, I had this song, Magarbo because it's festival and all that. And sure enough, his arrangement was Ma Festival. And then the rest of the other compositions of that LP was Ma Festival. Da 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 da.
Yes.
But
He-
oh, go ahead,
Oh.
Liz.
I was just gonna say that growing up watching Ryan Musikahan, I had that feeling about him that he was just like an approachable guy and a modest guy. I never got to meet him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He was my kaklase in UP Elementary. He was
Classmate.
he was the one who would play the national anthem every morning because he would be in the piano.
Mhm.
So we
Before
always
the panata.
right before the panata makain. He and John Lesaka.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, he and John Lesaka. So yes, that was the song that, and then of course when they won, it was hands down actually with the first Metropop. Kay ganda ng ating musika, and of course
It's a
the
great
rest of,
song.
yeah, I mean Ryan knew it, from the very get go. He knew that
He would
had
get
in
it.
that he had it in the bag because he,
But it was-
he knew. Yeah,
It's a perfect song. It's
Oh,
to,
yeah,
to,
it
to kick
was.
off.
Festival song.
Yeah, the
it
first
was.
Metro Manila Popular Music Festival. So to folks who don't understand Tagalog, kay ganda ng ating musika, kay ganda ng ating musika, it means that our music is beautiful or our music is so beautiful, something like that.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
by
Les.
our meaning Filipino music. So of course it won. It's so
Yes.
good.
It's perfect.
And it did win the Soul Song Festival too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, we got a second song, Les.
Yes, Lea Navarro. Let's play this out because it's just like 2.5 minutes or something. So let's play it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Oh,
Go
good.
for
I
it.
got a photo for this.
Ngayong mundo'y gulong-gulo at lahat tayo'y litong-lito. Pag-ibig sa kapwa-tao, sa daigdig dapat ituro. Kung bawat puso ay marunong magmahal, kapayapa at kasiyahan tiyak na makakamtan. Lahat tayo'y pantay-pantay sa biyaya ng may kapal. Lahat sana'y akbay-akbay, handang tumulong kanino man. Kung bawat tao ay marunong magmahal, anumang kulay o salita, tiyak makikiisa. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. Watashi wa anata o aishitemasu. Ich liebe dich, inibig kita, ma-ID. Paano man sabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ang pag-ibig. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. Watashi wa anata o aishitemasu. Ich liebe dich, iniibig kita, ma-ID. Paano man sabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ang pag-ibig. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. Watashi wa anata o aishitemasu. Ich liebe dich, inibig kita, ma-ID. Paano man sabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ang Pag-ibig, pag-ibig. Isang mundo, isang awit, isang sigaw. Pag-ibig.
Wow.
How could that song not win grand prize? How?
Festival. That's a
Got such a
festival
big finish.
song.
Got such a
Yeah.
big finish, right? Wow.
Yeah,
Even
and
with the in the end, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
that was Jun Regalado.
Oh, amazing. Regalado
Yeah.
talaga. Ang galing talaga niya. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Lea Navarro, Isang Mundo, Isang Awit. Arrangement, D. Favis. Sino po si D. Favis?
See, what's his name?
Nani ba? Nani?
Yeah, Danny Favis. Danny Favis.
Danny Favis, composer,
Yeah.
lyrics, Prudencio Nonong Pedero.
Nonong Pedero. Yes.
Amazing.
And it did win. Somebody wrote there. Yes, it did win the Hong Kong Festival.
We
And by the
were
way, I saw this earlier. This is a photo of Leia with VST. I think that's you,
Yes.
Roger.
Yes, that was us. Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Emmy.
Nasaan na yung jacket? Nasaan na yung jacket, Raj?
Yeah, that was
No.
an original Nicholas Studley jacket, by the way. I
Wait.
don't know if people remember Nicholas Studley. He's an English fashion guy who settled in the Philippines, became a good friend of ours,
Oh, interesting.
and he was the one who actually did all our get-ups.
You still
Oh
have
my
it?
gosh.
Yeah, well, I had one. Cool Ledesma got mine for the Music Museum. Unfortunately, the Music Museum burned down.
Oh,
Wait,
so-
hold up. I didn't know that it burned down. I
Yes,
played
it
there
did.
several times in the 90s, but I
Yes,
don't
it
remember
did.
seeing your jacket there. Now I'm
Because
sad.
the jacket was, I gave it to Ku sometime later in the year when she came by here in Seattle. He said, "Oh, can I have your jacket? I'll put it in the museum." Of course. But yeah, that was a Nicholas Studley jacket. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Of course. Speaking of Leah,
Yeah, let's talk about Leah.
Leah is a kalog.
Kalog. Hip.
She is
She's
one
hip.
of hip, and she's very very
Still
what
is,
it?
still is.
She's fun to be with. She's kalog is what we love her.
Yeah,
And,
what about that song? Any stories about that one?
well,
It was
it was
a
no.
celebration for Nonong, right?
Yes, Nonong Pedero came back with vengeance. Of course, that was the third Metropop. He said he was persistent. He had his first Metropop, second Metropop, and then the third Metropop. And Leah was the one who's going to sing it. And he was really upbeat about the song, because now he was very very at that time I remember him. He was like, this is my year. This is my year. He keeps saying, Nonong is a very intense, a very intense guy, But he was disappointed in '78 because he said, well, music, it's nothing but disco beat this year. Because he was like, oh yeah, he's
How can
very
you be disappointed with disco? How?
Well, Nonong is he's I would say, along with si Willie, di ba, Emmy, with Willie and those guys, they were the purists. They were the ones who really loved to be in the purest, try to really make music the way music was. And yeah, those were the times when a lot of arrangers came out. June Latonio, Danny Favis, all these
this?
arrangers. Homer Flores.
Homer
Yes.
Flores.
Yes, these were all the Metropop spawned a lot of not only composers but also arrangers.
Arrangers,
Diba? Oh,
Great
diba?
arrangers, right?
Lumabas na yung mga arrangers because Mang Doming, on the first year, because we didn't know anybody. It was Mang Doming who we contracted for composers to work with. But it turned out when a lot of these composers came in the second Metropop, they already had arrangers in mind because Now they said, if we have our composers, our compositions, we'd like to have a specific arranger for it. So that's when Emil Mijares came in.
Eddie
Oh,
Moon.
Eddie Munhi, yes, Emmy Munhi. All these arrangers started to come out with
So were
different.
they
Yeah.
were they working in the Manila Sound era as well, or some of them, or did they really start during the OPM
It was in the
time?
OPM that they actually came out. Yes.
Okay.
Most of them, because the
Wow.
Manila Sound, remember, it was just very, very very simple, like Cinderella and Hot Dog and all that.
And that was also when Rico signed the Luneta. What is that? Memory?
Yes, yes, the concert at the park,
Mm-hmm.
right? The concert at the park was the project of Valencia. You had
Yeah.
the
So okay.
the
Manila Sound at
yeah,
the time.
right, yes.
That's very interesting because thinking about my old Emmy Munhi records, like for
Mhm.
example, the Philippine Airs that came out in '73,
Mhm.
and it sounded nothing like the
Mhm.
what came out later.
Yes, because now it was about creativity. That Odette Quesada,
Oh, Odette
those,
is amazing.
right? Yeah,
He's a songwriter.
yeah, and all these, they are all from products of college of music, like what's his name? What's her name? There were a lot, came out of the woodwork and finally showed their wares. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and
should
then.
we? Oh,
Mhm.
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say too, because the Metropop, we were already having all kinds of these ideas after the second Metropop, that now we can have the arrangers are coming out. Maybe we can go into the vernacular, and we were encouraging others from the different regions to turn in your songs in Visaya
Ah,
or
yeah.
Ilocano. Yeah, di
Amazing,
ba?
amazing.
And there was one, Philip Abrogar, and I think it was already in the fourth or fifth. He had one song that's Ania Ako. It was Here I Am Your Friend in Visayan. He became a finalist, but there were other compositions that didn't make it to the finals, but there were a lot of vernaculars, and a few of them made it to the recording companies, because the recording companies were already like standing on the side and saying, "Okay, who didn't make it to the finals?" Oh, and they were contacting
Let's put
this.
you out.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I like this song. I would put it in, and there was even a Tausug band from from
Amazing.
from the back. Oh, yeah, and they had this rock band that's Tausug,
Ano pong
and
pangalan nila? What's the name of the band?
Wow.
I forgot the name of the band, but they did come up with a single.
So they did record.
They did record, yeah.
Okay.
It was in Tausug, and then there was Jakiri. Remember Jakiri?
Yes,
You told us
Jakiri.
about
They had a
that,
record
yeah.
out on Gem.
Yes.
And you
yes,
didn't say that one of your brothers produced that record.
Yes, yes. It was Nafu.
So the next episode when we have you and your brother, I'll have that Jakiri 7-inch. I'll play. Well, I
Yes,
hope I have it. Wait,
yes.
what
And
happened to Joel?
I
He
think
disappeared. But
he's
let's play the let's put on the next song, which is
Yes.
I think should be the Philippine national anthem.
yes.
Walang iba magsasarap sa pagtitingin ng dating. Sana ay pinamawakas itong awit ng pag-ibig. Awit natin ay wag mong kalimutan. Ako ko naman na lagi ka pakikinggan. Ang isang pag-ibig ay parang lansangan, dapat dalawahan. Kaya't sa ating awit tayo ay magbigat.
That's Roger, everyone.
Awitin mo at isa isasayaw ko. Oh, oh, oh. Awitin mo at isasayaw ko.
Roger, there you are. Meet the gang. Tell us who those people are, left to right.
Oh yeah,
All
who are
right.
these folks?
Okay. All right. Left to right, that would be Monet Gasquel, who is from San Beda. And then Tito's elder brother, Val Soto, Electronite. That's Spanky with the hat. And then June Medina is one of our guys who came from Olongapo. He's a crooner guy. And that's Celso with the pipe, trying to be he's trying to be a pipe guy. uh, of course, he's the one who produced Freddy's Anak. And then to my left is my younger brother, Male, who was dabbling into theater when he came in. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that photo. And that's on the back cover of the record.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, to folks who don't know this song, this is Awitin Mo Isasayaw Ko, disco version. So, can you please clarify something for us? So, my
Yes.
7-inch, it just says Awitin Mo. And
Yes.
then the LP version says Awitin Mo Isasayaw Ko, disco version. Ano po ang ibig sabihin? What does it mean?
Okay, the disco version, as Spanky would give you a lot more details.
Sige po.
No, but the disco version is the long version. It has that whole part there with just the music track,
Okay.
and then as opposed to the 45 album, it was shorter. Yes.
So, I mean, tell us
Gotcha.
about that song, the significance of that song. It's really
Yes.
the quintessential OPM Manila sound kind of song of that era. Really.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Sobra.
You know, ika nga, and the guys, we all share this sentiment. It was like, the expression suntok sa buwan. Suntok sa buwan is you jab the moon, right? You jab the moon. That's the English literal translation. Right? We jab the moon and we hit the moon, so to speak. And so it was like unexpected. We thought it was just part of the era because Saturday Night Fever, right, spawned that whole era of disco. And then, of course, Spanky, Vic, and Tito decided it was to do what the boyfriends started doing. It was the boyfriends who actually started it, and then the VST came after the boyfriends. But it was they were the ones who said we have to have a different kind of sound, and it was Lori Illustre. We owe it to Lori Illustre's arrangement that he actually came out with that. In fact, that drum roll.
Yes.
That's it. You get hooked up right away with yeah, and that was it. And then of course, yes. The rest was just we never thought that it was going to have this lasting
Such impact, no?
yes.
By the way, mine is signed less by Roger and Spanky.
Roger, I have a question. When I
Yes.
go to Seattle to visit my son, I'm fully vaccinated. Will you sign my records?
We will sign everything that you got.
And also, I need to take your portraits. We're gonna take your portraits for this. Somehow, Joel and I will use it.
Oh, this is going to be something because with Emmie and here, I mean, this is like not a lot of people know the role that Emmie and the broadcasters did. And I think we owe a lot to what these guys did. It was the broadcasters who actually, without the broadcasters, I don't think OPM would be what it is today.
Yes, and
I
that's
would like it. Mhm.
that's the whole point of this, is to highlight not just the artists, but also
Yes.
the people who made these
Behind
things
it.
happen. Yeah,
Behind
the
it,
person who drew the award.
Drew the trophy.
The logo.
the logo or
The,
the woman
logo,
who just got out of college, and
right?
these are all
Yes,
important. You're
yes,
part of OPM. What happened to OPM? That's you're
yes,
part of history.
One thing
yes,
that at the time, like it was martial law and yet transparency. That organization was really transparent.
yes,
Otherwise,
Yes.
after we wouldn't last. But we
yes,
knew we knew the money that was coming in. We knew the money that was going out. So it
right.
was pure and simple. It's honest to goodness. They were there for the job. They were there to create beautiful music for the Filipinos.
Yeah,
No,
and then
this
just
is
became like a launching pad to
yes.
so many important artists and
Yeah.
so many great songs. That's
Yes,
awesome.
and it was you know Al Queen was all very proud that he was part of this whole thing. When we saw Al Queen at our concert in Anaheim for one last time,
Yes.
we actually dedicated the show to him, and thanks to Lori Illustre for making it happen for us. That was in January of 2020, right about at the onset of COVID.
Yeah.
And Al Queen was there, and it was like a full circle.
Amazing.
And the theme was "Thank you for all the years that." Who would have known 40 years after we would be here? And the way we're singing it, these old fogies, right?
Not an old fogey. Old fogey, maybe.
Oh, Bogey.
But,
Old fogey.
remember,
Kilabot din niya ng kolehyala at the
Aba, kilabot ng kolehiyala.
Wait,
Heartthrob.
wait, wait.
College girl heartthrob.
Let's look at this. Let's look at that
Oh, hey,
again.
look at that.
Oh, hey.
Oh, Kuya Ross. Look.
2016,
hey,
Los Angeles. Shout
yes,
out
and
grand performances.
thank you to you, Joel. There was this thing. Okay, let me just say this story. What's her name? What's her name again? Uh, uh, Montalibano's wife.
Edith,
Uh,
Edith.
Edith was sharing this with us. When you guys, I think it was you guys who went there for an ocular prior to the concert when you were checking out the place,
Yes,
and
yes.
the guy who was managing the place was with her, and they were going out. Also, this is going to be where the stage is going to be. This is where the instrument is going to be, and this is where the people are going to be dancing and all that. And then Edith pointed out to the rafters, right?
Yeah.
And Edith said, "How about that place over up there?" "Oh, don't worry about that," said the guy. He was white guy. "Don't worry about that. It's not as if Bon Jovi's coming here, you know."
Huh.
So oh, okay, okay. That night, that night, that night, the same guy went up to Edith and went to her and said, "Who the f are these guys?
Why?
Who the f are these guys?" Because the rafters were full.
Packed it. We packed
Were
it.
packed, and then there were still other people outside, and so we Joel, that was to us after coming back here. Actually, that was the year. That was actually the month after. It was August 13. We remember that because August 10, we laid to rest my brother, Snafu, and Spanky and I. When we finally went to the City of Angels, when we came out of that stage, we had goosebumps because we both pointed up, and we knew that our brother was with us, because that was the first time we actually came out in public after all these years when you guys made it happen. So that was like to us like, wow, it's still alive. It's
Yeah.
still alive.
It was such an
So,
honor. We were so lucky to have you
well,
both there.
the honors with us, because like I said, it's like, who would have known that many years after what we had planted with Emmy was going to be this much, let alone here in the US. My God,
exactly.
we were just thinking about it in the Philippines, and we were so happy that Freddie went to to Hong Kong and all that. Masaya na kami no. We were all happy at that time.
Oh no, thank you. Kami po nagpapasalamat sa inyo. Maraming salamat for sharing with us. But you know, we don't want to keep you. It's you know, we've been here an hour and a half, but can we play one or two more songs?
Sure. And
Is that
thank you.
okay?
Thank
No,
you.
thank you.
Thank
Ito.
you.
Wala nang makilala ka, aking mahal. Di ako mapalagay sa kakaisip ko sa'yo. Lagi na lang ikaw ang alaala ko. Kahit nasaan ka man, larawan mo'y natatanaw. Maging sa pagtulog na papangarap ka. Pagkat ang nais ko sana, kapiling ka sa tuwina. Ano bang nakita ang puso kong ito sa'yo? Na pag ika'y kasama, anong ligaya ko sila? Bakit nais kitang mahal? Ganda mo, di ko malimutan. Bakit nais kitang mahal? Sumpa man, iniibig kita.
That was Bakit Labis Kitang Mahal by Boyfriends, written by Alex Malilin. Want to talk a little bit about the Boyfriends?
June. Mabilin. Yes, the boyfriends, you know,
Arts film,
Yeah.
no?
Octo Arts, yes. Of course, I mean that our affinity to the boyfriends is that Bob Guzman was, you know, a good friend and a neighbor. Like he's like a big brother to us.
So the boyfriends were on Canary.
Canary, but Canary is a subsidiary, right, of Octo Arts.
Also.
Yes, yes. That was Orly Lakad.
So you tell us a little bit about the scene. What was happening? I mean, both of you were in your 20s. How was 1978 Manila? Tell us about it and the music scene. The boyfriend, were you hanging out with boyfriends and Hot Dog and the Garcia brothers? How was it? Tell us about it.
Wow, it was like music was like everywhere. I mean, Shakey's. If you go to Shakey's, it was packed.
So Shakey's was the pizza place, but it was also a venue, right? Like it was like a lot of bands played.
Yeah, you go to Shakey's. Yeah.
Where was that? Where was Shakey's at? Malate?
Well, there were all kinds of Shakey's there. Malate, Makati. There was in Manila, and then of course there was the Strip, Rojas Boulevard.
Rojas Boulevard.
Yeah, the Nonoy Zuniga had his band at that time. You know the what was it? Nonoy Zuniga was in a band at that time.
Ano nga yung banda ni Nonoy? Because he had a few bands.
Yeah.
Ano po yung...
It was a big, huge band, and it was that was the time when he was went to the restroom and
The bomb.
exploded, and that's where he got his foot. You know, family birth control band.
Yes.
Family Birth Control Band. Yes. Yeah.
And it was a misnomer because family birth control, right?
Yes.
You should have family birth control there, so you would expect only 2 or 3. But there were about 13 of
lot.
them in the band.
Yes.
But they were awesome, you know, and yeah, and that was the time. And then, of course, 1978 was the boom because it was the year after the Metro Pop, so the second Metro Pop, and that was the radio was just blaring with all kinds of, you know, Sharon started to come out, Ray Valera started to come out, Apo, yeah.
And maybe we just want to point out that the four OPMs per hour was the mandate, right? But because
Yes.
there were so many beautiful OPMs, they even paid more. So there was no need for that mandate
Yeah.
anymore.
Amazing.
In fact,
Bountiful.
in fact, the whole culture of programming changed. It was now lorded by a lot of Filipino songs and a lot of Filipino, and it was just amazing. It was crazy. You had all kinds, like Claire would come out with her song, the
Sayang.
Karen Carpenter, and then Ryan, and then
Rest in peace, Claire.
Rest in
de la
peace.
Fuentes.
Rest in peace. Rest in
Yeah.
peace.
yeah, rest in peace.
She just
Rest
You
in
know,
passed away.
Claire.
There.
Good
And then all kinds. There were all kinds, and the television was beaming with all kinds of talents.
They
So
Yeah.
many
started
bands, so many venues, right? So many
Yes, so
venues.
many venues, something special, you know.
else.
Yeah, and it was just a couple of years till 1981, 1982. It was like, and then you have Martin coming out, and then Gary Valenciano coming out, and they were
The
just
Apa.
early 80s.
it just became, it just came higher and higher and higher. And Ivy Violan and all these power plays, it was just crazy. It was just like, it was beautiful. And then you have,
The
you have,
Backyard barrier was broken.
The Bakia
Yes.
barrier was broken.
yes,
Everybody
finally,
appreciated the music, you know.
Amazing.
finally, it was today's hits, tomorrow's classics, and you had, like, what's his name, Labuyo was
Labuyo.
the
Yes.
first one who
Tuloy
came
pa
out with
rin.
really, really, the kind of pop tune that was easy and reflected the sentiment, and then it was not anymore the magarbo or anything. Diyan na dumating yung mga talagang, what's his name, yung maaari bang umusog na konti. And then you have Bong
Peñera.
Bong Peñera, and
Yes.
what's his name? He was based in Hong Kong. And
Babae, lalaki.
lalaki, bakit di ko maamin sa'yo?
Nako, ba't nakalimutan ko na yan?
Because there were a lot of Filipino musicians in Hong Kong, and even
Yes,
in the 60s and 70s.
yes.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think of who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. The tip of my tongue, I forget.
Like,
A long time.
Di bale, pag naalala nyo, we'll put it on when we finally post this, we'll put some references in here.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it was 78, 79, 80 was the golden age. Even Ray Valera made a song for it.
And honestly, I'd like to say that we could actually speak hours on this, and also just in terms of like the historical context of what was happening. We did talk about earlier about martial law, what was happening politically in the country, and human rights. Maybe we could talk about it like
Some more.
some
Yes.
other time. It's a
Yes.
complicated thing,
Thank
as
you.
in most of Philippine history, right? But I don't. Les, do you have one more song you want to play?
Yeah, just one more song, because I mean it is OPM, so we
It
have
was
to play. I'm sorry.
Bon Gabriel.
Bong Gabriel. Yes, Mr. Enriquez actually just wrote it. Bong Gabriel. His records are very expensive right now for some reason. Very expensive. So
I don't
here's
have
a hot dog song.
Maraming beses na kitang nilayasan, iniwanan at ibang pinuntahan. Parang babaeng ang hirap talagang malimutan. Ikaw lamang ang aking laging pinabalikan. Manila, I keep coming back to Manila. Simply ain't no place like Manila. Manila, I'm coming home. I walk the streets of San Francisco. I've tried to ride in Disneyland. Been Sydney. Summer I feel like I don't belong. Hinahanap kita Manila. Ang kulay mong kay sarap sa tenga. Mga jeepney mong nagliliparan, mga babae mong nagkagandahan. Take me back in your arms, Manila, and promise me you'll never let go. Promise me you'll never let go. Manila, Manila, I keep coming back to Manila. Simply ain't no place like Manila. Manila, I'm coming home.
All right, that is Manila by
Oh,
Hot Dog, written and composed by Rene and Dennis Garcia. You want to talk about Hot Dog?
Iconic, man.
And that song,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, those brothers have provided a lot. They were the Red Fox.
before, yeah. Red Fox.
They started as a band that was just rock, Red Fox. And then when they started writing Tagalog songs with Ella Del Rosario. What is this? And then they got into the disco. They felt like disco was something that they took on eventually, taking off from the Manila sound that they started. And one of the things that one of the songs that came really strong for them from the disco era was "Ani Batong Bakal."
Yeah,
Yes.
that's unforgettable. Na Ani Batong Bakal. Then
Yeah.
they
It's
had
a great
Voice
song.
from Kaduy, right? Was it?
Right,
Yeah, it's Hot Dog. Yeah.
right, hot dog.
Yeah, so I mean this song was really a Manila Sound song, but it has kind of like tell us about Hot Dog and VST. You told me some really good stories about Hot Dog and VST.
Let's just say this. It came to a point when somebody came up with a concert called it's like one-on-one. It's like a boxing match. It's like a boxing match, and it was supposed to be. It was in Araneta College. No, in Folk Arts. Yeah. So Hot Dog was a little. They even had a song entitled "Meow." Meow. Everything will meow. They were really, ribbing us because they felt, they felt the sentiment behind the song was that we were like hitting it like the Bee Gees, you know.
Okay,
And
so there wasn't a rivalry. Are we? No, there wasn't.
there
A
was.
little bit. Okay.
Oh yeah, there was a rivalry. In fact, that time when we had that one-on-one in folk arts, uh, the the Sotos and the Garcias couldn't be found in one room. Otherwise,
Oh,
it's going to
wow.
be you can't have them in one room. And there was a tense rivalry at that time. Yes, but eventually that was the height of it. Pero
But
yeah,
yes, one of the architects of Manila Sound, really, and rest in peace.
yes,
Also,
yes. And then, of course, the
rest in peace.
onset of OPM was the
Yeah,
VST. And then, kasi, VST was just, it came in really strong.
yeah. It was.
And then, siyempre, everyone was just moved aside somehow. And Hot Dog didn't like that.
Hmm.
You'd go to colleges, Raj, remember? And then
Right?
the sisters, the nuns, were saying,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah, there was this concert we had. And I remember this concert because the Apo Hiking Society had one also at that same night. And after that, when we saw each other again, the Apple went up to us and said, "Why would you have a concert when we had our concert, man? That was really a low blow." We said, "We didn't know. We didn't know you had a concert. Why were you thinking that you think that we had it done intentionally?" Yeah, well, it turns out because a lot of those who were supposed to go to that concert went to our concert.
Oh,
And
wait.
but the thing that happened in one of those concerts, this is what Emmy was referring to. There was this school that was run by nuns, and it was a girls' school. And so when we came out to play, it was quite odd that they after every song they would just clap.
What?
Of course, the nuns were seated in the front row.
Is it Saint Sco or Merinol or Shena?
no, no, no song. It was that school right by Malacanang.
Mm.
It was run by nuns. Anyway, so we were wondering, and so sabi ko, okay, well, it's a meeting very, very, very nice. And then second song, it was another upbeat, still clap. And then the third song, that's when Monette started to sing Ipagpatawad Mo. And just by the first note, Ipagpatawad Mo, one girl started to scream. And then the rest of them started to scream. And then everybody started singing. You know what the madres did?
Kilig.
You know what the madres did? And this is what Emmy was referring to. The madres ran out. They stood up and ran out of the auditorium. And then pandemonium broke loose. Everybody was going crazy. And then the madres came back with holy water.
Holy
They-
Spirit po ba to? Yung
They
eskwela?
were-
Is
no,
it
it
Holy
wasn't
Spirit?
Holy Spirit. It was the Holy Spirit. They were blessing the girls. And they were doing they were going like
They
this.
were possessed because these women, these college women were possessed with the spirit of VST. Espiritu ng VST.
And then, after the song, and at the end of the first half, we always had an intermission, right? After the curtains went down, the Mother Superior, she was already standing on the side. It was the Mother Superior with the other mother. And we came out sweating and all that, and then the Mother Superior said, "I think that's it for today. Thank you for a beautiful show." So the concert was
Amazing.
cut short.
Amazing.
Aw. Wait, so real quickly, I found the song.
This is an early diss track.
So this is
Totally
Apatama
early diss
sa inyo.
track.
It was.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Laging nasa radyo, boses mo'y naiba, boses pusa talaga, asenso nga na ngayon Tonyo.
Si Tonya instambay sa kanto, nadiskubre na bigating tao. Nasira sa
Yeah, so this is Meow by Hot Dog, which now I know was what is that in English? Patama para sa VST.
It was like
It's a diss track.
a slight.
Yeah, like a slight diss track. Yes, you're
A diss,
correct.
a little diss on yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so we have 10 minutes. What should we
Yes.
do? Should we take in
Wait.
some questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Let's do it.
Get some questions. Yes.
All right,
want it?
folks in the chat, welcome to OPM Sundays. I am Les the DJ, and Joel Quizon is here, and our special guests, Miss Emmie Joaquin and Mr. Roger Rigor, are here. If you have any questions,
Yes, please.
any questions aside from emotes? Well, while we're waiting,
Should
for
I play this
any-
song? Oh,
Yes, can you play that song, please?
I'm gonna play a little song here, and then
While
Go
we're
ahead.
waiting for a
while
question.
we're waiting for some questions. Here you go, Roger.
It's gonna take some time before I know 'Cause I've been hurt before, I'm scared. Does it show? The wishes of my heart is not the making of my mind. The wounds haven't healed yet. No, the wounds they haven't healed yet. It's not you, it's the memories of love gone by. It's not you, don't get hurt if you see that time should pass by. It's not you, it's not you, it's not you, it's not you.
Hey, Roger,
Yes,
that was "It's Not You" by Sharon Cuneta,
yes.
written by Roger Rigor and
And Jojo Luan song. Yes, that was those were the days in Makani.
yeah,
I was with them for a while. And Sharon was an artist that was produced by Spanky. Yes, yes, Sharon. And of course, when Sharon, according to Spanky, said that she liked the song, so it, it was part of that whole thing. During that era, composing was the thing now.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
And
have.
collaboration too. Like I feel I always see people in the records playing other people's records. There's like what kind of a scene was that in terms of for musicians and composers? Did you all like how did you socialize? What were there
Oh yeah,
networks? Like how did
oh yeah,
that
yeah. I mean, they would hang out. They would see each other hanging out in the studio, or cinema audio, where there were studios there. There was Green Hill Studio, there was Sampaguita Studio, there was Cinema Audio, and so these were and then of course there were those places where it was a watering hole for some in clubs, but really it was like just when somebody says we're putting up doing an LP, it's really who you can actually network with. I got an idea, I got a song, so um, that was just that was and then there was the movies, you know.
Yes, you were talk about
Yes.
that
Oh,
movie.
can
Oh my gosh.
can I ask about one movie?
Yes, go ahead.
Rock Baby Rock.
Rock Baby Rock.
Yes, Rock Baby Rock. Yeah.
Oh, I
Eh,
wish I had a clip of that. Okay.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Well, I
Next
mean,
time, next time.
it was an offshoot with uh, the director Al Quinn.
Did Al direct that film?
Yeah, the films that we were at was Al Quinn's direction. Yes,
Starring who's in there? Vilma
Vilma
Santos?
Santos
Junior and Junior.
Jr. Yes,
Junior is a Spanish guy, isn't he?
I think he was Spanish. Yes,
Yeah.
Junior was Castilla.
Castilla. Talagang
Yeah,
Castilla siya. Yeah, I've
yeah.
always been curious about who Smack was. Who's Smack? Do you know who Smack is in the
I don't know. I don't know who Smack is, but maybe Spanky knows.
Yeah, well, for next
Yeah,
time.
we're gonna get Spanky here and bring you back with Spanky. Just
Yeah,
to throw everyone else Spanky
yeah,
Rigor.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we have a question here. Just here, let's put it here. Can you
Oh,
ask
we
about the
talked about it already. Yeah.
stage costumes of the era? Who designed and made them? What was it like wearing that stuff on stage? I'll leave
Uh,
it there.
yes, thank you. At that time, like I said earlier, it was Nicholas Studley who actually we got hold of because we saw Nicholas Studley line of clothes, and we wondered who's this Nicholas Studley. And turns out he was a real guy. He was an English guy who settled in the Philippines. And so he was the one who actually um, designed this like somehow patterned it after the Earth, Wind, and Fire for our rock, baby rock LP.
Mm,
Yes, it was like,
that's why.
right,
Like
eh,
space,
right,
space
I
like
see it.
yeah,
I wish I
yeah,
had a sample.
yeah. And then of course, and it was Sergeant Peppery, Earth, Wind, and Fire kind of thing, So, and then of course the jacket was our idea. We even had a Darth Vader costume.
Amazing.
In our first concert.
Who wore the Darth Vader?
All of us, all seven of
Oh,
us,
all of
even had that that Darth Vader thing.
Well,
And we
speaking of Darth Vader, why did you guys do the Battlestar Galactica like theme
Galactica because
song?
of that.
Yeah, because it
That
was
was Spanky's idea.
science
The
fiction.
Galactica was because of the Star Wars was coming in. Oh,
Yeah, you know what?
and then,
I wish we could talk for longer, but we don't want to keep everyone, so we're gonna like kind of start wrapping it up.
sure.
I mean, I would love to talk to you for more. Maybe we'll bring back Emmy again one of these days. Emmy, also,
Yes,
we'd love
yes,
to have you back. Talk more
yes,
about the Metropop.
yes.
But are you gonna play something? Okay, Les is actually going to prep. She's gonna go on for a little bit, play some music. I kind of wanted
Yes.
to go in terms of kind of closing remarks, like for OPM. And why do you think? Why do you maybe think both of you? Love to hear your thoughts on why do you think it is important to continue this legacy of OPM and even utilizing the term OPM? Why do you think it's important? For me, I always think like OPM is not really a genre anymore, or maybe it would never really was. It's really about people, right? The people who made it and created it and performed it. So, why do you think it's important for us to kind of keep talking about opium and continuing its legacy?
I guess it's a continuous sense of pride that we're Filipinos wherever we may be, that we are a rich country where we're not poor. We were just poorly governed, but we're a very rich country in terms of culture, arts, and I would love everybody, first generation, second generation, and every person of Filipino descent to appreciate that. You can be proud you're a Filipino. You can be very, very proud, no matter what they say. Right, Raj?
Yeah.
Right. Well said, Emmy. Thank you so much. And writing on what she already said, being rich is not about what you have materially, like consumerism and all that. Being rich is being rich in the heart. And I think we are just beginning to go into that journey where we're beginning to discover the richness of our culture. As a Filipino, I really am so proud of what you guys are doing because it's spawning a lot of inspiration and hope that we are actually a very rich people. And I say that with all honesty, and the music says it all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wherever you may be, you're a Filipino.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
mabuhay!
Oh,
Okay,
Les,
thank
your
you very
mic's on.
much, guys.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Maraming salamat po for being here and for sharing all these stories. And this is only the first episode. Joel and I are starting out doing this, like one of the awesome things that came out of this horrible pandemic, right? Like we were able to do this together. Oh no, it's like my alarm to get something. Anyway, sorry. Thank you again. I'm just gonna play a couple of songs. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Maraming salamat, Kuya Roger, Ate Emmy, Joel.
Thank you.
Hanggang sa susunod.
Hanggang sa
Alright.
susunod.
Pagpatawan mo aking kapangahasan, Pinipili ko sana'y maintindihan. Alam kong kailan lang tayo nagkatagpo, ngunit parang sa'yo ayaw nang lumayo. Ipagpatawad mo at kung may naguguluhan, di ko masisi na ako pagtakhan. Di nga dapat ako pagtiwalaan. Alam kong kailan lang tayo nagkatagpo, ngunit parang sa'yo ayaw nang lumayo. Ipagpatawad mo, minahal kita agad. Minahal kita agad. Minahal kita agad. Ipagpatawad mo.
I'm not sure where Joel went. Joel, where did you go? Ipagpatawad mo, I don't know where you went.
Baka yung connection.
Baka po.
Sana naman ipagpatawad mo ang malabis na kabilisan ko. Ngunit ang lahat ng ito'y totoo.
Joel, this is your StreamYard account. I'm not sure how to let you in to your own account.
Minahal kita agad. Minahal kita agad. Minahal kita agad.
Welcome back, Joel. So I just wanted to say a thank you again to Kuya Roger and Ate Emmie. Maraming salamat po sa shinare nyo sa aming today. Joel, is there anything you'd like to say before or you are stuck? So is Joel stuck? But this is so we're gonna say bye now.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm just
Hi.
okay. Your internet not working. Cool. But so we'll take you out of StreamYard so you can go about the rest of your day. But we appreciate you so much, and please still tune in. I'll just play a few more songs and check if Joel wants to play some songs. Thank you, po. Thank you, Mano.